Hey there. All right, I'm going to be doing a little bit of operational instruction for you, and then we'll get to the demo for how I'm teaching what the process is for you to keep moving ZUMA forward on her response to the remote for recall. So I have programmed this so that it will be as easy to use as possible. All righty. First things first, you have two black buttons on one side. One of those buttons is the power button. It is the lower button. When you press it and hold it, watch the little screen, it will light up. Lights up, it's on. Press it and hold it to turn it off. Okay, so that's easy enough. That's the on-off button. So I turn it on. Now, you will notice there's a number in the center. Right now it's on a 10. I was actually working ZUMA on a 12 last time I saw her. So we use this dial right here to dial that center number, the working number, up and down. There is a way to lock that number in, but we're not going to do that right now because she's still at a stage where we're trying to zero in on her best numbers. So she's at a 12 right now and until further notice. So you use this dial to adjust, but let's leave it at a 12. You'll notice letters around the circle. You don't really need to worry about those when you're not pressing buttons. The 1D means it's set for one dog. The M refers to a momentary signal, which just goes zit. It's a single nick. The C refers to a continuous signal, which is what we use for training. And that is for a period of like 10 to 12 seconds, it goes zit, 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 zit. If you're holding it down for about 10 seconds and she still hasn't come, you want to lift off and resume. It's a safety mechanism. So continuous is what we're going to use. I'll show you that in a minute. The V refers to vibration and the T refers to tone. We're not using vibration and tone right now, so don't sweat that. Okay, these two front buttons, we're not using right now. The red one does vibration, the top one does tone. We're not using the front. We are using the side, and I'll explain why in a second. So when we're using the side buttons, either the black one or the red one, when you're doing normal signals, will give her the same thing. So she's set, let me set her on a 12. Okay, so this is on a 12. You can see that if I push down, it stays at an 11, right? If I push down here, because I didn't set it at a 12 effectively, there it is. If I push down here, it stays on a 12. If I push down on the red one, it stays at a 12. But if I push the two together, it jumps to a 22. Pushing the two of these simultaneously is referred to as boosting. Now, a boost should be used in situations that are a safety issue. If a dog was running toward traffic, if a dog was chasing something. I will use a boost if a dog seems to be clearly ignoring me, but I don't use boost until down the road when a dog has really, really excellent compliance and understanding, a really great relationship with the tool. I do not use it in the training phase. But I wanted you to know that the reason I'm using the side is because that's the easiest way to employ a boost. Otherwise, you can do it on the front, but it's more of a two-handed situation. So, okay, you are only using these two buttons. It does not matter which one you push for regular signal. We are going to stay on a 12, and I'll let you know if that changes, but otherwise we'll stay on a 12. So if you notice, when I hold this down, you're going to see a C pop up. That means continuous signal. When we hold this down, it's going tap, 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 tap. And the idea is that when we give her a signal, when I say, ZUMA, come, I am simultaneously pushing and holding. So she hears the command and she gets tap, tap, tap. When she turns and commits to me, she doesn't have to come all the way to me, but when she has clearly committed, I release the signal. So the idea is that the signal goes off when she starts to comply. She learns that she can shut off the annoyance by complying. Now, if she's a good distance away and she turns and she starts coming, you let the signal off and you cheerlead her in. Good girl, good girl. If she breaks off and starts heading away again, we say the command and we put the signal back on. So the signal comes off only when she's in a state of mental commitment, okay? Once she starts moving, everything else, you can do anything you want to do to help her. Cheer her on, clap, pat your lap, whatever, it doesn't matter. But the signal is released the minute you see her connect. It's resumed if she goes off on a tangent somewhere, okay? So that's why the continuous is so important. If all you did was use a momentary and say, come, that would be so quick and sudden, and it wouldn't be teaching her that she can escape. This is called escape training. She can shut off the annoyance. She can escape the annoyance by following the command. So the first step in training is make sure she understands the command, because it wouldn't be fair if I threw a command out to her that she didn't understand. I have to first make sure she understands it. So that's why we put her on the long line. I say, Zuma, come, tug. Zuma, come, tug. I do that a few times. When she seems to be responding, not 100% compliance, just responding, she's showing me that she understands the command, which she does understand that command now. Then I bring in the remote signal. And I do the remote with a little pop, the remote with a little pop. So she's getting a pop on the long line and the signal simultaneously. So she starts to learn that those two things mean the same thing, right? And then I just drop the long line and all she gets is the signal. So we do it in baby steps. We start with the long line. She affirms for us that she gets it. Then we do the long line with the signal simultaneously. She affirms that she gets it. Then we get rid of the long line and we use just the signal, okay? She is at a stage right now where I quickly build to using only the signal. But when you start practicing, I want you to go through the steps that I'm going to show you in this video, which is long line first, then both, then just the remote. So this video is going to be a little bit long, but bear with me. All right, so we have this baby on. Now we want to turn this on. Where there is a light that's not on yet, there is also a little red dot. On the back of the remote, there is a matching red dot right there. If we touch these two together, you're going to see the light turn green. Turn green, it's on. Touch it again, turn red, it's off. So it's on. Now, if I want to double check to make sure it's on, you can press a button and you'll see the red light. Yep, it's working. Or this red button on the front vibrates. So you can feel it vibrating. Okay, it's on. Now I'm going to put it on her. I don't want to do all this testing while it's on her neck. So putting it on her, let me take this down here. We want the light up in front so you can see that it's still working. We want not for it to be on the center on her trachea, but low and to the side. If it's too high up, her neck is so tough she doesn't feel it. Now, a dog with long hair, we have to make a little bit more effort to make sure that these contact points are touching her skin. If she doesn't have contact with both, it will not provide her a signal, okay? So here's what we do. I put it on her neck. It's up behind her ears. It's above her collar and the long line. Now, the first thing that's hard for all of us to do is this has to be tighter than a normal collar. She's not going to care, but it's hard for humans. Now, are you really? Come on. Come on. Okay. Here, there, that's my girl. Good girl. Come here. Let's show. Let's show. Okay. So, show them right there. Can you see it? So it's hanging low. It's down below where her ear is. Now, I am going to, because her hair is so long, I'm going to pull hair out, literally clearing it out as much as I can so that I can get those contact points as close to skin as possible. We do the same thing with dogs, like bulldogs with big, heavy, foldy skin. We pull the folds out. But with a long-haired dog, we want to clear it out as much as possible. Now, it's hard to see with her hair, but you want to just be able to get 2 fingers under this collar. If it's loose, if it fits like a regular collar, she's not going to get a consistent signal. This is hard to show with her hair on video. But if you are wondering if she's getting any signal at all, the first thing I'm going to say to you is the collar tight enough, okay? You want it to be snug. If this box moves at all on her neck when she moves, it's too loose. All right, so here we go. So she's got the remote collar on. She's got the long line, which is below the remote collar on her neck. And now let's see if I can get us, sorry, amateur video. All right, so what I'm gonna do is the first few times when I call her, it's just gonna be, there's no remote signal. And then I'll let you know that I have the remote and I'll sort of keep you posted on what I'm doing. All right, baby, let's go to the other side. Now, when I call her, I always say her name first and then the word. So this is 15 feet of line. She could be 4, 5, 6 feet away from me. It's fine. She does not have to be all the way away. But what we do want is for her to not be paying attention. Zuma, come. If she sticks with me, I walk her over towards something that will attract her attention, plants or anything that will distract her. Or I just try to do a quick direction change. As you see how good she is. Zuma, come. Zuma, come. Good girl. Good girl. Okay, so we do a few long line. You might find this easier if one of you is out here to distract her so that the other person can get away from her because she will stick so closely because she's really good at this. So I do maybe 3 long line tugs. Now I'm going to do a couple of long line together with the remote. So when you hear me say the word come, I am pressing down. When you hear me say the word yes, I have lifted off. I'm going to tug at the same time. Zuma, come. Yes. See how close she was? That's fine. Zuma, come. Yes. Good girl. Good girl. Gotta get her away from me. Zuma, come. Yes. Good girl. Good. Good. All right, so we're primed. Zuma, come. Yes. Good girl. And now I'm not even going to bother with that. Now, I'm going to keep the long line on her for a little bit so that if she has a moment of confusion, I can pick up the long line and help her. She's probably not going to have a moment of confusion, but for a couple of minutes, I'm going to have her still dragging that long line behind her and doing some repetitions. If something catches her attention, or sometimes a dog who's been doing great will suddenly have a moment of, wait, what am I doing? In that case, what we want to do is help her. We can help her by going, come on, come on, come on. Or, any kind of gestures that will help her. But we can also pick up the long line and give her a tug to remind her. So we use that for a minute. There we go. You ready? Zuma, come. Zuma, come. Yes, good girl. Good girl. Good girl. Yes, good girl. Good. So on that one, I was holding down and she was looking at me like she didn't know what was going on. So I'm going to double check my collar. Make sure we're plenty tight. Check my hair. And her hair is definitely a thing. We might want to look at getting longer contact points for her. Okay. That's her low. Zuma, come. Yes, good girl. Good girl. Good. Notice that I move around. I don't make it stationary. Stationary is boring. So you see how she's starting to stick with me. So the easiest way to lose her is to have somebody else call her away. But I'm just going to walk around and see if I can't get her to notice something other than me. Zuma, come. Yes. Yes. Good girl. Good girl. Yes. So over time, I take the long line off. For the next few days over this weekend, you may not take the long line off. You might decide to stick with it. Depends on how consistent. Now, she is over on the other side of the pool. Perfect. And here we go. Zuma, come. Yes! Yes, yes, good girl. Oh, good girl. Good girl. So I want you to notice, leave it. Good girl. I want you to notice that my tone with her is always happy and encouraging. When we are doing recall, I am never punitive. I am never tense or frustrated. I want ZUMA to come to me. So I have to give her energy that makes her want the same thing. We never punish, we never scold. If it takes her a long time, it's because she has hit a patch of confusion. She is so good and obedient and never defiant. So we always are thinking in terms of how do we help her understand? How do we encourage her? Not about compliance, punitive, I'm the boss of you. Not that kind of energy. It's not what we want. Okay, so now, I don't know if she's on camera. She is once again on the other side. She's heading up the stairs. This will be a good one. So this is a great test. She's off the long line. She's halfway up the steps to the deck. ZUMA, come. Yes. 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 Good girl. Oh, that's my girl. That's my girl. Yes. Good girl. Good girl. So what we will do is, because you've got a great yard here, we will keep the recall work and the remote work here at first, but then we will take it out of the yard in the coming weeks. We'll take it out of the yard, keep her on a long line for safety, but we will start gradually stepping her up to environments that are less controlled and maybe even more exciting. But for now, and for this first weekend, it's all inside the fence, okay? And call me or text me if you have any questions. But she is doing great. All right. That was really long, so sorry about that, but you know.